Ren, I just gave a few straws of facts and figures around this technology. You're at the heart of it. You know, Imad, Mushtaq, and you have created Stability Diffusion. Help us understand, why is this being deemed such a disruptive technology?
So thanks, Shoma. Maybe like you already most eloquently explained why this technology is getting very disruptive and potentially transforming the society. So I think to directly answer your question, maybe my first answer will be, there are previous version of the AI and the current version of AI, or maybe the next version of AI. So let me explain. The new one, which we call the generative AI, is critically different from the previous version of the AI, because back in the days when we were talking about AI, it's about studying hundreds of millions of data and then trying to get the answer, is this dog or not? Dog or not? So by studying hundreds of millions of data, your input was 0 or 1. As opposed to that, the generative AI is trying to understand the relationship between concept, idea, tangible object, visual effects, so that this generative AI model understands the connection between that, so that based on that understanding, this generative AI model can literally generate new visual artwork, meaning that it's the same. It's understanding hundreds of millions of data, but the output is billions of.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, Ren, you were saying, I'm going to ask the console to play this film, which you said, to give the audience a sense of what this technology can do, you'd like that film to be played. So if I can just ask the console to play the India Moment film. The reason Ren wanted us to show this is because every single image that you saw there has been generated by the technology that they've released. In 15 seconds, you write some words, and these images come up as though India Today's star photographers have been all around the country, capturing India. So that's, now, Ren, tell us. So this is just the beginning of it. ChatGPT and others are synthesizing thought, synthesizing, medical, lawyers. We'll come to human displacement. First, help the audience understand that you guys in this already very disruptive world have done something even more disruptive, which is that you made all this technology open sourced. You put it out there as a public good and opened it up for everyone to use. So tell us the vision driving this, and what is the controversy? Why is it so controversial?
So what we strongly believe in is this concept of the open source, because there is no secret sauce. The recipe of making this generative AI is very simple. You need 3 ingredients. You need the data, you need the know-how to train the data, you need a humongous compute power. But we are adding one more secret sauce into the making of the generative AI model, which is open source, just as mentioned. So by opening everything to all the users and engineers and coders around the world, we are inviting them to use it, adopt it, and improve it. So by relying on tens of thousands of the engineers, even outside our company, our model is getting exponential growth. That's the first meaning of the open source, just like a Linux moment. The second significance, which I believe is very, very pertinent to the current challenges or some public policy debate, is open source means transparency. Because look, the generative AI is getting more and more the everyday thing, and then people are affected by the generative AI or using generative AI for their day-to-day body. You want to understand what is in the model, how you're training the model. Open source, we believe, is one of the most crucial answers to this question because we are ensuring the accountability, transparency. So if you're using like a proprietary model, you never know, oh, how you're getting this model into the effect. You know, you ask this model whatever questions, they give you whatever answers, but you may wonder why this model is giving me this answer. Unless you understand what is inside a model and how you train it, the accountability is not fulfilled.
Yeah, so Ren, again, I just want to help the audience understand what's at stake. You know, I think a lot of us would have seen the film Social Dilemma, and just earlier Rajdeep and Michael were discussing how social media has really polarized societies because the algorithms were driving a certain response. It was manipulated for ads, but it was also manipulated to release serotonin and dopamine loops in all of us, so we get more addicted, our attention is grabbed. So what you guys are doing is that you're saying that all of us who are using this technology should know what was the intention of the company, whereas Microsoft and ChatGPT have kept it closed, so the power is in a few hands. But the contra-argument to that is that now when you've made it open, even like really evil people could use it, you know, to create images of violence or pornography or, you know, misuse it as deep fakes. What is your answer to that?
I think my answer is, first of all, accountability helps people to understand what's going on. I mean, not fully understand, because even I don't understand how the neural network works, but at least you have accountability. Based on that, you have to choose which model you want to use. So there is potentially global one-size-fits-all model created by the huge corporation, but there is also potential with the advancement of the technology. There is the potential that every culture, every country, every ethnicity can choose and build their own foundation model. I think which is another crucial thing. On top of ensuring the transparency and accountability, the next question is you may want to control the model. So because the model is, for a good reason, is full of biases, cultural biases. I gave you this example jokingly this morning, but I tried the Japanese version of our Stable Diffusion and global English version of our Stable Diffusion, saying Japanese businessman. In the global model, they generate the image like a guy who is wearing suit, flying business class, or at least premium economy class, and such a nice business person. But when you say Japanese business person to the Japanese model, what the model generates is sad, middle-aged, tired, faceless corporate employee who is commuting to the office every morning in a crowded train. So, the outcome is totally different, and then which is clearly affected by the cultural bias. So I think that my next message is on top of the accountability. You have to own the model.
Ren, that's really interesting. So when we were trying to generate these images into Mid-Journey, I put Indian something, something, and every time I got red Indians, with all headgear. So the idea of India and any images of India, like you said, so then when I put India, it started generating really sad, like everybody was, so there was a very Western gaze on what India is and is not, so it was a big struggle to generate images like that. So there is that cultural bias. But, the other danger of this, before we come to all the opportunities, is that, we're already being so rabbit-holed into silos, Yes, social media has done fantastic stuff, but all the technology, like anything you Google, you're only given what you like. You're on Twitter, it's tracking what you like, it only serves you what you like. So we're just getting imprisoned more and more and more into completely closed solipsistic cells. I don't understand you, you don't understand me, our realities are completely different because there's a technology out there imprisoning us in just our own likes and stuff. So I don't get you because now this technology is going to force us even further. You're saying that on your very powerful technology, India could create its own bias, Japan can create its own little cultural thing, ChatGPT is going to become a search engine. So when I search, it's not even going to give me 5 articles, it'll give me a synthesized article, which some technology has done. It's a very terrifying, polarizing world. What's your answer to that? Are you guys even discussing this?
I think that is an excellent and a most challenging question, but maybe I can break down into like a two-folded question. The first one is, even if you're living in a rabbit hole, which rabbit hole, which value do you want to live in? So you want to live in somebody else's foundation model, or you want to live in your own Indian foundation model? So, I mean, I'm going to the beyond this question soon, but the first choice is you have to make a decision which model you want to like live with. And then, even after you choose, let's say, even after I choose the Japanese model so that I can live in my comfortable Japanese bias, then you are now presenting me with the most challenging and interesting, pressing question. Ren, why you're living in a Japanese rabbit hole? Which is the most valid question. And then the answer will be, let me give you like a most stupid answer, which is, okay, in order to ensure that I don't live in a rabbit hole, whatever question I ask this model, if the model is returning 5 answers, totally different, culturally different answers, like, can I cross the street even when the traffic light is red? If there is no car and I'm in the rush, can I cross the street? If I ask this question to the Japanese rabbit hole, usually they give you whatever answer, like no or something. But the other option is making sure that this model is giving you 5 answers. But what happens if you are confronted, if you receive 5 answers? People get easily bored. And then the example you gave is excellent, because the Facebook and Google and other current technology, the reason why people are addicted to that is they can easily associate themselves with the technology, and then the answer or the service they're receiving is naturally what they want. So I think I don't have the answer to answer your second question, but it's our job, everybody's job, to come up with the right incentivizing mechanism to make sure that you are not overwhelmed by 5 answers, but you are feeling like, oh, I have some options. And then you are naturally incentivized to appreciate your approach going beyond the rabbit hole.
Yeah, but again, I'd just like to emphasize this point for the audience because, again, until you use this technology, you're not really understanding what we are discussing and what's at stake. Because, when Ren just said, okay, people will get bored if we give you 5 answers. The point is that right now, Microsoft, with whom we're going to have a session now, have just let go of the entire ethics team because they're in such a race with Google and with ChatGPT and all of that they're in a rush to put out the technology because every bit of attention they get from us is releasing $2 billion for them a year. 1% of business they take away from these guys means $2 billion. So they've just sacked the entire ethics team, And you're telling me that you don't want to give us 5 answers because that's going to bore the audience. But the point is you're going to keep pushing us further and further and further into rabbit holes. So I just want to leave that. I know you said you have no answers. Well, let me just move ahead because we're going to run out of time. To the positive end of this, Ren. You guys have made your entire model free, but you're imagining that countries are going to want to build their own models and are going to reach out to you all, or companies will, and you're going to customize models. So tell us, for a country like India, what is the potential, the opportunities that this technology gives?
So I think the potential of this technology is not just about having your own model. What is the potential application of these models? So 1 or 2 areas, which is obviously the lower hanging fruit for India, is applying this technology for education or healthcare, or those areas which you are having some pressing needs. So if I may explain how this the model is about understanding the culture and understanding, it's becoming your brain buddy. So if you apply this model in creating AI tutor will be holding the students' hands and making sure that they are customizing the education journey to cater to the needs of each and every different student. So I was reading this whatever, I shouldn't say whatever, but this the UNESCO or OECD report that the student to teacher ratio is like double of the OECD countries. Clearly, that's not, it's the fact. You need more teachers here. But instead of just ramping up the number of the teachers, what's great potential of India is that more than 80% of the kids have access to the mobile phone. And why we're not taking advantage of that great benefit? If you're combining this digital savvy and accessibility to the mobile phone by the kids and this AI technology, you can come up with revolutionized the education system to be deployed and to cater to the needs of the Indian unique situation. The same thing can be said for the medical services.
Ren, I know that this is opportunity, but I'm sorry, as a journalist, my mind keeps going to the potential misuse of this, because yes, even a country could design this, so maybe the Indian government reaches out to you guys to further design this model for a cultural circumstance like India. But that's putting immense power into a government's hand now, because they will define the parameters, and then because this is so convenient, none of us will be searching out knowledge in any other way except through a chat GPT or your stability diffusion text image, and soon you guys are going to do voice to image and voice to knowledge. But you're putting power in, like, knowledge seeking is just going to be defined by you or by the government or by someone powerful. So, I mean, I get it, there's a lot of opportunity, but it's frightening. I just want to share with the audience, we've discussed what's already there. What you all have released into the market, or what ChatGPT is based on, whatever we've used was 10 billion parameters was what ChatGPT was using and had put out. In these 4 months, the new ChatGPT 4 that they've put out is based on 10 trillion parameters. So we're just a whisker away. Everybody's discussing what will happen if this technology becomes super intelligent and more intelligent than human beings. Are we looking at a post-human world where, species-scale colonization is going to happen on us? You guys are at the heart of this. What are you discussing?
So I think the key here, I'm not a computer science major, and I'm a lawyer. But what is interesting, just clearly, as you said, Shoma, this is an exciting and potentially scary technology. But as is always the case with any new technology, even the best scholar, even the best professor does not 100% understand where this technology is going, what is the limitation, what is the condition of this technology. I think my answer to your excellent question is democratizing the process. So instead of stopping the development of the process, as far as you understand what is inside the model and how you train it, then the moment you started to see some existential danger, I don't know if it's coming or when it's coming, but the moment you found that there's an existential danger happening in AI, you reserve the right to stop at that moment. I think this is the way to strike the right balance between not too scared, but also allowing the technology to untap its potential to the fullest extent.
Thank you, Ren. On that note, time is up. So we've just, on all these sessions, you feel you've just touched the tip of the iceberg. I just want to leave the audience with something which Imad Mushtaq, your founder, has said, is that he's treating this as a public good. These guys are the mavericks in a very dangerous technology and very powerful, positive technology. He said it's a public good, and the public needs to discuss it, engage with it, so that they're not just manipulated into being a recipient of a technology. And that's the best we can have. The best model is a democratic one, where there can be argument and we can at least have a voice in regulating it. But Ren, it's amazing to meet someone who's in the heart of something so epochal, and you already have legal suits against you guys, there's class action suits, and yet, you're really keeping to the vision and mission with which you began. So thank you very much for joining us and for giving us insights into this.
Thank you very much.